I've been through budget cuts. I've been through all those situations. And the thing that's really important to remember is that you can get more with less. You can. So don't use, I don't have enough money as your excuse. Is professional learning going to suffer on your campus because you have lost title funds? And if the answer to that question is yes, then what I'm going to tell you is that student achievement is also going to suffer because no student growth can occur without teacher growth, and no teacher growth can occur without leadership growth. So, regardless of where your funds are because of the cut to federal funds, professional learning still has to continue if we're going to close the gaps for students. When we close adult gaps, then we're equipping them to close student gaps. So, the purpose of our discussion today is to really answer this question: how do we make professional learning even better when our funds are being reduced? And the answer to that goes back to the idea of the excellent support system. The excellent support system is something that I created back in 2011. You see it right up there in that book, Excellence in Every Classroom. And the purpose of that was for leaders to create basically an RTI system for teachers. In other words, we have to assume that all of us are struggling with something. And just like when students are struggling, they have additional time and supports. They have tier one interventions in the classroom with the teacher. They have tier two with additional time, additional support. And then they have tier three, which is individualized instruction. When I created the excellent support system, basically all I did is mirror RTI to that RTI pyramid. So in place of tier one instruction, we have step one school-wide supports. That is the professional learning that district leaders and campus leaders should be providing or should be contracting with professional development providers like us to teachers. And that can be done through a wide variety of ways. It can be done through face to face. It can be done through virtual, so Zoom type settings. It can be done through asynchronous ways. It can be done through your one stop shops and resources that you have there. The interesting thing about step one is that's where a lot of funds come in to actually pay for professional learning. We're going to talk about that in just a second, how you can optimize your funds and still provide step one school wide supports for teachers. Now, the second thing that we have to provide teachers to have excellence in their classroom is called step two teacher team supports. In the book, when I wrote about teacher team supports, basically that's leveraging the power of professional learning communities and putting teachers in teams so that they can work and learn together about how to get better at the content, to work and learn together how to get better at serving kids, to learn how to build stronger engagement. And so, what we want teachers to be able to do is have time each week where they are collaborating, where they are working on things that they have in common that they need to work on to get better. And then the final thing is step three. Step three is individualized coaching. And so that is where mentoring, individual coaching from the leader to the teacher, and having these feedback protocols where we are really being strategic to help teachers be successful. If we are losing funds in professional learning, how do we make sure that we don't have a gap opening in the excellent support system that we provide for teachers? The first thing that you have to be thinking about is how do you build a one-stop shop for teachers? Basically, it's a website that you provide to teachers. We actually have one on our website. It's called the Leaders One Stop Shop. It's a free resource that has a lot of resources that I've collected over the years, things that I've made over the years. So that way people can have access to them so they can find answers to questions at the tip of their fingers. If you're not creating that for the people in your building, you're actually not answering a lot of questions. And a one-stop shop is a resource of professional learning, and it doesn't cost you anything to make. The second thing is face-to-face professional learning. That is a powerful way to have professional learning. It's very powerful in that having a person in your school, in your building, working with teachers and leaders in a face-to-face environment where we are going back and forth, that is a wonderful thing to do. Now, I do believe you still need to make time for face to face professional learning, but when it is expensive, which face to face is, how do you make it work? It's that you have to have a relationship between the face to face and what happens after that. So the face to face should be an initial training of whatever the concept is that you want your teachers to get. And then after that, there should be informal trainings led by the leaders and led by the people in the building to actually continue that training throughout the year. That's where you can leverage the books. It's where you can leverage online resources and online videos and training courses that are more cost effective. They'll actually help you optimize your funds. But here's the beautiful part. You are building basically a scope and sequence for that professional learning throughout the year, where the face-to-face is where you jumpstart that, or you have it brought back in for a second time in the middle of the year. But in between, you want to have these very cost-effective training methods in place that you can actually fill the gaps in between your face-to-face training. So think of it this way. You want to have a scope and sequence where you have some face-to-face going on, but in between, you can leverage things with the capacity in the building or the more cost-effective resources that you can purchase to actually fill buckets for teachers along the way. Now, another thing that you want to be thinking about is that PLC, or those teacher teams that you have teachers working in. Do you have something in place for them to help them get better at collaboration, to help them get better at the work that they're doing in PLC? If you don't provide training for PLCs in learning how to work together, learning how to collaborate, and how to share ideas and come up with some strategies that are going to be effective to close the gap for kids, actually your PLC is going to actually be not a PLC, but an LPC, a lesson planning committee, rather than a professional learning community. And so you have to be thinking, what is that PLC training, or the training on how do we get teachers to learn how to work together, how to develop norms for their PLC, how to have agendas where people know what's expected, how to have collaboration cycles, where this week we'll talk about the curriculum. Next week, we're going to talk about developing the assessment, then moving to instruction, moving to intervention. And when you're having those things, that's going to be very effective. Another thing to consider is, do you have a training plan in place for data protocols? Data is actually so important, but a lot of people don't put a lot of time in that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little secret. The schools that I've been working with, that I have been working very closely with them on how to develop data monitoring systems, data-led leadership, and response to assessment protocols, those are the campuses that are seeing 2-letter grades of growth on their state accountability. And that is one thing you have to make time for in order for teachers to be successful. And then the final thing, when you get to step 3 of our excellent support system, that's where you want to be thinking about coaching and mentorship. Now, every school has a mentorship program, but mentoring is a very overwhelming task for the mentor and for the new teacher if there is not a coherent scope and sequence that you have people walking through. So people know what's expected in August, what's expected in September, October, throughout the year. And then by the time we get to the end of the year, the teacher and the mentor feel like the mentoring system was very effective and very productive, simply because there was a scope and sequence. There's that concept again, scope and sequence, of what to talk about throughout the year. Now, the question that you really want to answer is, all right, John, this sounds really good. I'd like to have an excellent support system, but our title funds got slashed drastically. We don't know how to actually make all this fit into their budget. Here's the thing I'm going to tell you. You can make it without having as much face-to-face learning this year and take advantage of some very cost-effective online alternatives. One of the things that we have developed is our WinkEd online learning library. And this is a professional development library that you can take advantage of and get 10 days of professional learning for your entire staff. Okay. So 10 days of professional learning for your entire staff, where they can watch it in a whole group setting, where you as the leader lead the training for the campus. It has my content up there where I'm presenting the information, and then you as the leader can take advantage of that and go out and train them on what you are expecting, what you are learning from the content. And here's the beautiful part about it. You can do it in a whole group setting. You can assign courses to a small group. So a PLC can be working on a specific course in the online PD library, or you can have teachers working on specific courses to get better. We have a course called the Behavior Blueprint that allows teachers to work on developing skills to become very good at classroom management. We have a course called The Heart of Learning. This is where teachers learn how to develop a culture for learning with great relationships and engagement. And then for the schools that are really interested in teacher incentive allotments or master teacher designation programs, we've got a brand new course called the Master Teacher course. And what it does is it helps you work with the teachers to figure out exactly what they need to do to get the highest ratings on their state evaluation and develop the skills to get the student growth, because you can't get master teacher designation without a great evaluation and great student growth. So this course is a very personalized course. And what it allows teachers to do is actually work on their own time. They can watch it from their phone. They can watch it from a computer. They can watch it on their couch. They can watch it during their conference period. They can participate in this professional learning. And the great thing about the courses in the online PD library is that the activities are anywhere from 3 to 15 minutes max. Okay. Now the course is going to get you 6 hours of PD credit, but you can break it up throughout the year. And so you can take one day of PD and stretch it out over an entire semester. We also have a course for leaders called Elevate Your Leadership in Half the Time. This allows leaders to learn how to be good at organization, to learn how to make sure they don't drown in the tidal wave of email and the overwhelmingness of interruptions and the constant meetings that really should be 3 to 5 minutes, but take 15 to 30 because we don't have them organized. We teach leaders how to be as efficient and effective as possible. Now, the great thing about the online PD library is that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of training. Think about all the different ways that you could have teachers that are brand new to the profession, learning how to just get those basics under control, all the way up to those teachers that have been in the business for years and want to learn how to get that highest rating to become a distinguished teacher or a master teacher. Here's the thing. A side license starts as low as $4,000 a campus. That's less than a face-to-face day of PD. And it puts teachers in the driver's seat to be student-led in selecting the courses they want to take advantage of. And so what we do at Wink at Learning is we just support your teachers in getting into the right course. We give you the information that you need to help people select the right course. $4,000 is cheap. That's a great option that you can take advantage of. And if you want to really help your campus continue to grow, it allows you to be in the driver's seat, and we teach you how to be in the driver's seat to use our content to teach teachers how to be great at teaching, to teach instructors how to be great at instruction. Now, we have a course called the New Teacher Academy. And basically what this is, it is a course for new teachers to learn how to be great in the first 3 years. And it's basically 1 hour of professional learning rather than having that 1 hour of new teacher induction on the first Monday of every month when everybody's exhausted and not really ready to pay attention. We have a course that they can have 1 hour of the same professional learning, but again, in 3 to 8 minute chunks, they can learn throughout the month. And then what do we provide for mentors? Mentors get a companion course and leaders get a companion course. So when the new teachers are working on communication, the mentors know, hey, let's talk about communication. Leaders know, hey, let's go and observe on communication and provide walkthrough feedback. Now they're going to be talking about having a great bell ringer in their instruction. Mentors, let's talk about bell ringers. Leaders, let's go in and observe bell ringers. So the great thing about the New Teacher Academy is we're training the teachers, but we're equipping the mentors and the leaders with the follow through to help new teachers be successful. It's been a great hit. Now you're probably thinking that's a lot of stuff. How much does that cost? To get started, just a small group of teachers and the leaders and the principal start out at $2,000. That is a cheap cost to have a year long of PD where it's 6 hours of PD credit for the new teachers, and they're getting the specific support and mentoring and leadership from the leader and mentor. It's a great deal. So thinking about that, you have to ask yourself this question: what else is out there? Okay. If those things don't fit for you, we also have these things called webinars. Webinars are a once a month hour training, a great opportunity for leaders and teachers to get professional learning. We have 9 a.m. leadership webinars once a month. And essentially, we've got a couple of different pathways for leaders. We have training for leaders who want to be super duper efficient and organized in their leadership. So we teach leaders everything about how to elevate their leadership, but also do it in half the time. How to defeat the overwhelmingness of email, how to have quick and efficient meetings, how to leverage tech tools to really be efficient, how to do the number one thing that leaders struggle with, delegate. And so we teach leaders how to be the very best leader that you can be. And I want you to think about it this way, where you can get as much of your work done in half a day. So you have the rest of your day to do what? Build people, support people, really help them get better at what they're doing. But a lot of times leaders can't do it because they've got all the things and all the interruptions and all the meetings that prevent them from doing the thing that they really want to do, which is guide, serve, and influence people. So that's a great webinar opportunity. If you want to be a data guru, okay, and a lot of leaders want to have great scores. They want to be an A. Can I just tell you a secret? You got to be a data guru in order to do that. But let me tell you this, you don't have to be a data guru of knowing everything about data. You have to be a data guru of knowing basically 3 data sheets. And in our data-driven leadership, we teach leaders how to be data gurus, but only have to know 3 types of data that they're pulling. And what we do is we take the accountability system and we teach you how to just get the essential information that you need. You don't need all the information. I'm just going to tell you, you don't. You just need the essential information, and you need to know it really well to help teachers be successful. That webinar is a great opportunity for leaders, and we provide you with a data sheet that you can use, and you can build your own plan of action. And what we do in that webinar is we take data sheets and we actually tear them apart. We look at sheets, we interpret what the data means and what are the questions we can ask and what are the actions we can take. So if webinars are a great thing for you, you can get in for an entire year. Okay. Our data-driven leadership, that's $1,000. And you become a data expert, and you have data that every month we teach you, hey, pull this data and go do this with it. Come back next month. All right, this is what you need to be doing right now. Let's look at a data sheet. Let's go to work and make it happen. So as low as $500 up to $1,000 for a webinar. Okay. And the final thing is this: executive coaching. Executive coaching is a powerful strategy. I had it when I was a principal, and that was some of the most powerful training that I had. The great thing about coaching is that the scope and sequence for the coaching is the person being coached. So when you are in an individual coaching setting, it's one-on-one, and it's all about what do you need as the person being coached to figure out how you become great this year. We had some tremendous responses from our coaching this year where people were seeing growth by leaps and bounds in their personal life, like they had time left to go home and spend with their family. We saw some great success stories where people who were constantly being bombarded by interruptions put plans in place, and now they had limited interruptions because they created systems to handle the interruptions and surprises that pop up. And then we have right now superintendents, assistant superintendents that we're working with, talking about their comprehensive plan of how do we turn this district into a high performing district. And so we're working on coaching plans for how to really get the best out of your staff, how to get the best out of your curriculum department, how to get the best out of your leaders, how to get the best out of your teachers, how to personalize support for individual teachers. So you got to ask yourself this question: what do I want to do? What do I want to do this year with professional learning? What are the needs of your campus? But also equally important is, what are the needs of your staff? Do you have a staff that has a lot of new people that need to be trained at the most basic elements of the hierarchy of instructional excellence? Do you have a teachers that are at the very top and they want to learn how to be rock star teachers? Do you need to be a data guru? Do you need to develop great leadership? What is it that you need? Once you figure that out, then the next part is real simple. What you want to do next is you want to figure out, okay, if I know that these are my needs, then how much money do I have for my professional learning? And what's the most cost effective way for me to get as many of these things done? Now, what I will say is once you figure out what your needs are, the next thing you got to figure out is what's the number one priority that we've got to make sure that we have in place? What's the second thing that if we have more money, we're going to put that in place? And then if we have some extra money, we're going to do this third. Okay. I will tell you this, any more than three priorities, you probably don't need to do it. Just stick to three is what I would suggest. And if you can get it to two, that's even better. Now, to help you figure out where you are and what you need, I'm going to provide you a free resource. If you will go to our website, winkheadlearning.com, and under the solutions, we have all those opportunities for you. winkheadlearning.com, under solutions, look at the different things that we have available for you. But there's one that's free that I want you to check out and download. It's called the School Excellence Checklist. And in that School Excellence Checklist, this is a quick PDF. You read it, it gives you information. It helps you identify where your strengths are, where your struggles are, and really helps you narrow that focus for growth for your school. Once you get that information, then you know what professional learning that you need. Now, here's the cool thing. If you want to figure out what your priorities are, all you got to do is set up a time for us to sit down on a quick Zoom and we can map out what your plan could be. It could be that we need to figure out some face-to-face. It could be that, hey, maybe what we need to do is just be really strategic with that online library and come up with something for you. Perhaps maybe the solution is making you the best leader. If you become the best leader, you're going to be equipped to do what? Make your teachers the best teachers. So thinking about that, it's now time for that plan of action. What is your plan of action? The first thing I think that needs to be your plan of action is you need to go to winkheadlearning.com, download the free School Excellence Support Checklist, okay? Download it, and I want you to figure out what your plan of action is. Once you figure that out, if you want to jump to step two is really simple. Go to our website, click the Contact Us, email us to set up a time where we can sit down and go over that checklist with you, and then maybe give you some ideas of how you can get as much training for your people with the limited budget that you have. In closing, what I'm going to tell you is this. More money is not the... In closing, do not let money be the reason that you fail to grow your campus. You can grow your campus by leaps and bounds. You just have to figure out how to optimize the budget that you've been provided. And I will tell you this, I've been through budget cuts. I've been through all those situations. And the thing that's really important to remember is that you can get more with less. You can. So don't use, I don't have enough money as your excuse. Let's get creative. Let's figure out how to get as much professional learning with the fewer dollars that we have. If you need any help, it's real simple to find us, winkheadlearning.com, hit the Contact Us button, check out the resources that we have. We have a lot of resources there. Some of them obviously cost money. Some of them are free, but take advantage of us. Let's partner together and let's figure out how to help you jump 2-letter grades in 1 year with a reduced budget and grow your teachers and yourself by leaps and bounds. If you want to be the best, you don't have to do the most. You just have to do the most effective and the most efficient things. Let us know how we can help you out.